Who was Gouverneur Kemble Warren? Gouverneur Kemble Warren was an American Civil War engineer and United States Army general during the American Civil War. He is best remembered for arranging the last-minute defense of Little Round Top during the Battle of Gettysburg and is often referred to as the hero of Little Round Top. In 1850, a graduate of West Point and a topographical engineer, Gouverneur Kemble Warren entered volunteer service at the beginning of the Civil War and was ideally suited for such a position. His training in the Corps of Topographical Engineers and his survey assignments in the Black Hills, on the Great Plains, and along the Mississippi River exercised Warren's keen eye for topography and military applications. Gouverneur Kemble Warren began his military career after graduating second in his class from the United States Military Academy in 1850. He was commissioned into the Corps of Topographical Engineers and spent time working along the Mississippi River, as well as taking part in creating one of the first comprehensive maps of the United States west of the Mississippi River. After the outbreak of the Civil War on May 14, 1861, Warren was appointed lieutenant colonel of the 5th New York and saw action at the Battle of Bethel Church in Virginia on June 10th. For his actions during the battle, he was promoted to colonel of the regiment in August of 1861. In 1862, he and his command took part in the Peninsula Campaign. He commanded his regiment during the siege of Yorktown and commanded a brigade of Sykes' division during the 7 Days battles. He was wounded at the Battle of Gaines' Mill and performed admirably at the Battle of Malvern Hill, holding off an attack of overwhelming Confederate forces. He commanded a brigade under Fitz-John Porter at the Battle of Second Manassas, as well as during the Battle of Antietam. For his actions, he was promoted to Brigadier General of Volunteers on September 26, 1862. He continued to lead his brigade through the Battle of Fredericksburg, and then served as an engineer for General Joseph Hooker during the Battle of Chancellorsville. It was after this battle that Gouverneur Warren received his most fame, the high-water mark of his career, and something he does not get enough credit for was his actions at Gettysburg. On the first day of fighting at Gettysburg, Warren assisted Major General Winfield S. Hancock and Major General Oliver O. Howard in establishing the Union position on Cemetery Hill. In the second day, with sunlight fading, Warren received orders that would significantly alter the course of the battle, as he and the Army of the Potomac commander, Major General George C. Meade, also a former engineer, rode along the Union lines on the afternoon of July 2nd. They heard gunshots coming from the vicinity of Little Round Top. Meade reacted, "Warren, I hear a little peppering going on in the direction of the hill over yonder. I wish you would ride over and see if anything serious is going on, and attend to it." Fighting on the second day began only 3 hours before dusk. A Confederate force emerged from the position to test the left flank of the Federal lines. As Warren neared the hill, having little idea of the enemy's whereabouts, he was immediately struck by Little Round Top's importance. It dominated the landscape and overlooked the entire Union army. He realized the summit, occupied by only a signal station with a few soldiers, was the key to the whole position, meaning that losing the hill to the enemy would allow Confederate forces to rake the Federals with muskets, rifle, and cannon shot, and attack them from the side and the rear. In that event, Cemetery Ridge would have been abandoned, leaving the field to the Confederate commander, Robert E. Lee. Warren climbed to the summit of the ridge, and from there he saw the extreme left flank of the Union Army at the bottom of the hill. He also realized that the Confederate Army was moving around those soldiers' flanks, shielded by a line of trees. With Little Round Top unmanned, the Confederates would easily be able to conquer it and bewilder the remainder of the Union position. Warren's epiphany resulted in immediate action. He sent a courier to General Meade to request an additional division for the defense of the mound. He also appealed for a brigade from the nearby 3rd Corps, eventually answered by Major General George Sykes, who sent Strong Vincent's brigade, comprised of the 16th Michigan, 44th New York, 83rd Pennsylvania, and the 20th Maine regiments to the hill. Given the importance of the situation, Warren also rode down the back of the hill to commandeer additional troops. By chance, he first ran into soldiers that he had previously commanded. He was therefore easily able to convince Colonel Patty O'Rourke, commander of the 140th New York Infantry, to turn his regiment from its course and up the backside of Little Round Top. Warren escorted O'Rourke's men, along with Lieutenant Charles Hazlett's battery of the 5th Artillery, up the slope. Because of the rugged and steep nature of the hill, the men had to lift and push the cannons up the slope, and even General Warren helped drag the guns to their placement. As the 140th reached the summit and bounded down the other side, Colonel O'Rourke was shot and killed instantly. The 140th continued down the hill and encountered John Bell Hood's Texans, who had found a weak spot between Vincent's right flank and the rest of the Union line. O'Rourke's men suffered heavy casualties, losing over 180 killed or wounded, but they pushed the Confederates back and secured the line. The regiment's adjutant later estimated that they had come within 60 seconds of losing the crest of the hill. As a result of his actions, the Union Army was able to hold on to the key position and went on to win the battle. He was promoted to Major General on August 8, 1863, following the battle. After Winfield Scott Hancock was wounded, Warren took control of the Second Corps and was noted for his actions during the Battle of Bristol Station. During the Mine Run campaign, Warren chose not to attack Lee's army, avoiding a trap that would have cost many Union lives. Before the Overland Campaign, Warren was reassigned to take command of the 5th Corps. He led the 5th Corps through the Overland Campaign during the Siege of Petersburg and into the beginning stages on Appomattox Campaign. At the Battle of Five Forks, Union General Philip Sheridan was greatly angered by what he perceived as Warren moving his corps too slowly. He relieved him of command on the spot. So what happened? At about 1 p.m., Sheridan pinned down the front and right flank of the Confederate line with small arms fire, while the massed 5th Corps of Infantry, commanded by General Warren, attacked the left flank soon afterwards. Owing to acoustic shadow in the woods, Pickett and cavalry commander Major John Fitzhugh Lee did not hear the opening stage of the battle, and their subordinates could not find them. Although the Union infantry could not exploit the enemy's confusion, owing to a lack of reconnaissance, they were able to roll up the Confederate line by chance. After the battle, Sheridan controversially relieved Warren of command of 5th Corps, largely due to private hostility. Meanwhile, the Union held Five Forks and the road to the South Side Railroad, causing General Lee to abandon Petersburg and Richmond and begin the final retreat. Although he was reassigned to the defense of Petersburg, Warren would never forget the incident. Humiliated by Sheridan, Warren resigned his commission as a Major General of Volunteers in protest on May 27, 1865, reverting to his permanent rank as Major in the United States Army Corps of Engineers. He served as an engineer for 17 years, building railroads with assignments along the Mississippi River, achieving the rank of lieutenant colonel in 1879. But the career that had shown so much promise at Gettysburg was ruined. He urgently requested a court of inquiry to exonerate him from the stigma of Sheridan's actions. Numerous requests were ignored or refused until Ulysses S. Grant retired from the presidency. President Rutherford B. Hayes ordered a court of inquiry that convened in 1879. After hearing testimony from dozens of witnesses over 100 days, the court found that Sheridan's relief of Warren had been unjustified. On November 21, 1881, President Chester Alan Arthur directed that the findings be published. No other action was taken. Unfortunately for Warren, these results were not published until after his death. Warren's last assignment in the Army was as district engineer for Newport, Rhode Island, where he died of complications from diabetes on August 8, 1882. He is buried in the Island Cemetery in Newport in civilian clothes and without military honors at his request. His last words were, "The flag, the flag." It's your history. Learn it, know it, love it.